My name is Nancy Muir. I'm an author of technical books. I've written several dozen over the years, including iPad for Seniors For Dummies and iPhone 5 for Seniors For Dummies. The iPad and the iPhone are very popular devices with seniors because they offer a very elegant design. They're very nice devices. They're very easy to use. They're very consistent. iPhone and iPad have the same operating system. So if you know an iPhone and you get an iPad, you're there. You know what you're doing. But they are also tapped into a world of apps. And that means that you can really customize your device and your use of it. So if you like entertainment apps, or drawing apps, or music apps, you get the apps you want and you build your own computing experience. The first time I used an iPhone, I thought what an elegantly designed device it was. And I was also amazed at the whole app environment, the number of apps out there that you could get and how that grew so quickly. Thousands and thousands of apps now. Apps you can use to do a variety of activities. So you could really customize your phone, and that was really fun. I think with the iPad, it was surprising to me that it was a very easy learning curve once I'd used the iPhone, because they use the same operating system. So you really match functionality very, very closely, almost 100%, almost. But the iPad was kind of a revelation in terms of getting the computing experience into that portable, small device and the fun of the touchscreen. If you haven't used a touchscreen before, you'll find that it's a very tactile, easy way to get things done. You basically reach for things instead of using a keyboard or a mouse to get things done out there. You're interacting with the devices, and it's a lot of fun. Well, interestingly, some of the most common questions that I hear from new iPad users are very technical questions. How do I connect to a Wi-Fi network? How do I set up an email account? So they're the types of things that people need to get going with certain services like email and so forth, and connecting to the internet. They're things that are not hard to do, but they're not always obvious to a new user. Common questions that I hear from someone who's just gotten a new iPhone have to do with some of the features of it. For example, if they wanted to use a navigation app to be able to direct them as they're traveling around in their car, how do they get that set up? How does it know where they are? How do they deal with settings so that it can find their location? So some of the questions relate to settings, and there's a whole slew of settings with an iPhone. How you get connected to Wi-Fi networks, and how you find the password for the Wi-Fi network, and things like that. But the other thing that people ask about iPhones often relate to the apps themselves. Siri, for example, is an app where you can talk and ask questions of your iPhone, and it will give you responses. People want to know how to frame those questions, what it knows, what it doesn't know, how it knows it. So there's a lot of interest in the various things that you can do with apps. The For Senior For Dummies books is kind of a unique variation of the Dummies series. It's different in a few different ways. The print is larger. That's a basic. But it's also aimed with examples that are relevant to senior readers, so that when we talk about technology, it's how a senior might use technology in their everyday life. Also, it starts a little bit at a more beginning level than a usual Dummies book, although basically all Dummies books are more beginning level. These books take into account the fact that the reader may not understand certain technology terms, or may not have used certain basic functionality in a computer or a piece of software or a device. And so we try to approach that in a much easier, more basic way.